Hello, welcome to the live. Welcome to CBD Movement Talk Live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just giving people time to step into the live. Welcome to CBD Movement Talk Live tonight. It's Friday. This is the end grind for CBD Movement. Hi, Jewel. Our Movement Talk Live. So I'm just giving people time enough to get in here. Do me a great, sweet favor. Make sure that you hit the notification tabs that is in the feed so that you can know when we're coming on and also share the feed tonight. Hi, Jewel. How you doing? So tonight we will be talking about benign tumors, okay? So I'm going to explain to you the difference between the two. So I'm just giving people enough time to get in the room, but I'm gonna explain the difference between cancer and tumors, okay? If I look a little tired, guys, it's because I am, like Terry Lidge has told y'all before, we both have jobs while working a business, while running this show. So we have our work cut out for us. It's our Friday. We can't wait to get to our Saturday. And then our Sunday is usually preparations to get ready to start all over again Monday through Friday. So, oh, girl, I'm doing good, just staying busy. My inbox, Jewel, it stays full. So I'm constantly getting back with people and, the deal of the business. That's why I look like this today. I've just been trying to find as much rest as possible, but it's been limited lately with the increase of people that we're helping. So, yes. All right, I'm going to give everyone just a minute or two. This is an earlier live because, like I said, guys, I work. So, right after this live, I got to shoot out the door and go to my healthcare job. So, yes, just when I thank Jewel that I've cleaned out my inbox, literally before I can even go to sleep, it refills right back on up. So I'm like, all right, people give me time to get to you. So yeah, but it's a blessing. I'm not complaining at all because it's better to have an inbox full than one dry. So I'm telling you, yes, they was talking about that today. I was watching the news and it was talking about how the week catching up on your sleep is actually bad for your health. I'm like, oh, what? So they was talking about weekend sleep was actually bad, and I was like, I don't want to hear that because that's when I try to catch up on my sleep. But I work on the weekends too, so it's like, but one, oh, let me plug in my charger real quick. But yeah, I love what I do. I love helping people. So that's why I ended up getting in the line of service of doing healthcare work and stuff like that. So it was directly that I knew I wanted to be a part of helping people. So eventually I'll move into my long term goal is to move into humanitarian work abroad. So that'll be cool. All right, I'm gonna just give them one more minute and I'm gonna go ahead and start at 6:04. For everyone entering the room, go ahead and share the feed. I know this is an earlier live, um, 6 in the evening, maybe 7 over at your time. I'm gonna go ahead and start turning down this music a little bit. Okay, let me know if y'all can hear me clearly, whoever's out there. And also, we've noticed too that we've been having a problem with the feed connection for some reason on Facebook now. I guess since we've been gaining momentum, there has been a cut in our feed. So we appreciate if you can go ahead and share the posts every so often through this live because they have been cutting back on the feed and we have been getting like static or lost connection, like it's been slowed up on Facebook's end with the lives. Guys, we've been experiencing that a lot. I mean, Terry experienced it last night. I experienced it on the other live before his life. So we're experiencing that. I just count it as a blessing because we're gaining momentum. Hey, the truth has to get out there some type of way, and we will not be moved. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And I thank everyone for showing up to CBD Live Movement Live, Talk Live. So let me go ahead and get all the housekeeping out of the way. Hi, I'm Latasha J. I'm one of the hosts on CBD Movement Talk Live, which is a platform that talks about health topics and solutions here on Facebook. So you can definitely find us on Facebook if you have a Facebook page or get an invite through a CTFO member who is a part of the the show. If they have an invite already, you can ask them. If you see them posting about CBD Talk Live or CBD Movement Talk Live, you can ask them, "Hey, how can I get on?" So all that information, as well as on, is in the description, as well as for people that need help. That's in CTFO. You can also look for the group, the support group that we have, where we're helping other CTFO members who are struggling. And not only that, I just want to say that we are not taking people away from the sponsors. We're not telling you to do that. We are just saying that we have an extra support group if you would like to be a part of it to gain some extra knowledge and to have further success in your business. So if you would love to participate in that, you can contact me, me, Latasha J, or Terry Lidge, the other host. Guys, it's been a long day. Or you can look at the information in the description and get an invite through the CTFO CBD movement group. Okay. So, with that being said, let's get the disclaimers out of the way as well. Now, when you view on this uh, health topics platform talk show, guys, I just want to let you know that we are not health professionals. Okay, we are not certified doctors or anything like that. Everything that is being said on the show is research and for educational purposes only. Okay, so like I tell people all the time, it is your due diligence, it's your responsibility to recheck anything that is being said from anyone, whether it's my live or somebody else that's giving you information. Always do your due diligence and do more research. I encourage you to do more research on the topic today, which is tumors, okay? And be self aware of how you can be able to help yourself have a quality life. And at the end, we will share some of our powerful supplements that's in a booming industry that has been around for the longest of time, but is now resurfacing in a big way and it has been helping a lot of people. So let's get into the topic of tumors. Now, how many of you think that tumors and cancer is the same? Thank you, Crystal. Appreciate that. Hi, Shania, I believe it's Brashaw. Thank you for joining us. How many of you think that tumors and cancers are the same? So I'm going to give y'all time to answer that. Okay, So the answer is no, they're actually different. Cancer is something totally different from a tumor itself. So I just want you to get that clarification because a lot of times people get confused between the two. So every time they hear cancer, they're like, oh, if you have a tumor, you have cancer. Not necessarily so. So we're going to talk about the non cancerous tumors that you have can get in your body. Okay, so tumors are just usually non-cancerous. We're talking about benign tumors. So I'm just going to explain to you the difference between tumor and cancer. So tumor is a mass of tissue that is formed by accumulation of abnormal or diseased cells. Normally, the cells in your body age and die and are replaced by new cells. But what ends up happening is that cycle is disrupted. And so you have these dead cells accumulating and they end up turning into a tumor, okay, in different parts of the body and developing. So they just end up turning into just a mass of tissue and dead cells all clumped together, making that hard or soft mass, whatever the case may be. Now it says here the tumor cells can grow even though the body, it says the tumor cells can grow, but usually they're not cancerous. The only time that they end up being turning into cancer is when, um, let's see here, when a group of disease cells or abnormal cells spreads and invades parts of the body. So the dead tissue cells, as far as with tumors, it's just dead tissue cells collecting together and mixing in with the different body parts in the body. So let's say you get a tumor maybe in the wall of your uterus or whatever, it attached to those tissues that's in there and start uh, collecting and growing into this mass, but it's not cancerous. The only time it's cancerous is when you have diseased cells. Remember, these are not diseased cells. The regular tumor, the benign tumor, is just dead cells that's just collected together and then processed out. But when you start having diseased cells entering into that mass tumor and they invade that space, now you have a cancer, and then that cancer can grow and spread. Now, benign tumors are usually not dangerous unless they end up getting near like a blood vessel or a main artery. Then that's when you're talking about it being serious, especially like for people that end up having fibroids and stuff. All of that extra bleeding and all of that type of stuff, it can get to um, your your tumors can end up being, critical at some point. So let's go on. And it says here, tumor cells can grow even though the body does not need those dead cells. Unlike the normal cells, they don't die. As the process goes on, the tumor continues to grow more and more, and cells are added to the mass. So, yes, that's what ends up happening with tumors. The cells, the dead cells, just keep on collecting and it keeps on growing, but it is not cancerous until an infected group of cells come in and invade that space. And then that's when you're talking about the duplication and the multiplication of cancerous cells in a cancer type tumor. Okay, so what are some causes for people getting tumors? Where you have environmental factors, when you're talking about environmental factors, all the free radicals that's in the air, all of the stuff, the pollution, the toxic waste, the smoke, all of that type of stuff that we deal with when we step outside, when we're driving our cars, all of that exhaust, all of that stuff that's in the atmosphere that does not get purified out of our ecosystem can have an effect on our body and can cause us to possibly develop tumors. So, such as radiation, radiation from the sun. Too much sun can cause, tumors on the body as well. So you're talking about those factors. And then we're talking about genetics. Genetics is a possible form of way that you can have a chance of developing tumors in your body just based off of genetics. So if your mother or father was prone to having tumors in the body and they had that genetic code, then a lot of times you may be at high risk to develop tumors somewhere in your body as well. Diet, poor diet can lead to that. We know that too much sugary and processed foods and all of that can set up bacteria and diseases in the body, causing you to develop those type issues, tumor, possibly leading to cancer, down the line. So diet does play an effect on that. And stress, the emotional component. Guys, you don't realize that when you are in a negative state, you send bad hormones into your body, messing up the ecosystem within your body, messing up the pH balance system within your body. So, when you're in a negative mood, when you're angry, when you're holding grudges, when you're in a negative space or a sunken place, then you can open up the door to your body being susceptible to being more sick, to not feeling well, and that's due to all of those bad chemicals being released in your body. So that's not good. We want to try to find ways to release our stress and start letting those things that bother us, let it go, because it's not worth you getting a possible tumor or some other illness. It may not even be a tumor, it may be something else that ends up developing in your body or in your mind due to the fact that you keep on holding on to these issues in life. Um, like they say, tomorrow's another day. You have always have another day to get it right. Okay. So let's try to find ways to release our stress and just let it go. It's not worth it. So moving on, you can also, which is an interesting fact, end up having possible tumors due to injury. How many of you knew that? Having a severe injury can make you prone to getting a tumor, a benign tumor. So, like I said before, benign means it's not cancerous. Even though these tumors may grow in size, they are not cancerous, which means they do not have any diseased cells entering into that space. Inflammation and infection. So, chronic inflammation and infection can lead to a possible tumor somewhere in the body down the line. Let's talk about once again the space of the woman, the uterus, the area. If it gets inflamed and it gets infected, you know, eventually those tissues, those dead tissues start building up and you could possibly get a tumor. And we're talking about fibroids again and or uterine cancer, probably down the line in your body or, in your uterus having those tumor cells up in there. So that's something to think about. Injury can possibly cause you to have a tumor. And it says usually the treatments for benign tumors, since they're non-cancerous, it's usually surgery or medication or radiation. So when we're talking about surgery, we're talking about being out of work, not being there for family, possible um, issues where you might not make it out of anesthesia. There's so many risk factors when it comes to surgery. But if it comes down to where the benign tumor is in a bad spot, they'll just go ahead and, you know, tell you this is your option. You're going to have to probably have surgery to remove it. We're talking about maybe using medication to probably shrink it or radiation treatment, which is a different form of chemo per se, and use that as a way, which is more poison in the body, to shrink those tumors so that you won't have those problems. Because, like I said before, once tumors start getting in a bad spot, like by your arteries, your brain, all of that type of stuff, then you can have some serious issues, okay? So we can go into just some of the different types of benign tumors. So on WebMD, I'm just going to go through the list of what they have of different types of benign tumors. It says common types of benign tumors. There are many different types of benign tumors arising from different structures in the body. These are some of the most common types of benign tumors. So you have adenomas, which are benign tumors starting in the elliptical tissue of the gland-like structure. So usually these tumors develop in the thin layer that covers the organs, the glands, and other structures. Okay, so when you're talking about adenomas, you're talking about that thin layer of covering that covers your organs. Sometimes tumors can develop right underneath there, and end up popping up. So, types of tumors that are like that, we're talking about polyps. Polyps or little bitty tumors inside the colon. That is also considered an adenoma. So, it's small, they're little bitty lumps. They look like almost teardrops if you ever seen them. And they're polyps, they're called polyps. And usually they're not cancerous, but they can have a possibility if a disease cell get into those polyps in that area can be possibly cancerous. But usually 9 times out of 10 they're not. And that's why it's considered one of the benign tumors that is there. So going down the list, it says here, adenomas might also grow in the liver, in the adrenal gland, the pituitary, or the thyroid gland. So you can also have tumors in that thin space of tissue as well, because remember, it always happens in that top thin layer, and then you'll see the little extremity that pops up from it, which is the tumor. So when people talk about the pituitary gland, a lot of people don't know where that's at. So in people who are spiritualists and all that type of stuff, they call it the third eye. But basically, your pituitary gland is right in the center of your forehead, and it looks like a pine cone. So I, encourage you to go research your pituitary gland so you can know what it is and know what it does. All of those types of things. So, how many of you, hi Nina, thanks for joining us, have ever experienced having a tumor in your body? Let me know in the comments and let me know, um, did it get to the point where it bothered you to where you had to get something done about it? Or the doctor was like, you know what, we're just going to leave it alone. It's in a safe place. It's not cancerous. We just keep an eye on it. So you can let me know if you have ever experienced having a benign tumor before, and what solutions, that they gave you, options that they gave you. Because we have some powerful options that I'm going to share with you and the end of this podcast. Okay, so going down to another form of benign tumor is called fibromas or fibroids. They are tumors that are of the fibrous and connective tissue that can grow in any organ. Fibroids commonly grow in the uterus. Remember, I was talking about that earlier, you having tumors in the uterus. Although not cancerous, urethral fibroids can lead to heavy vaginal bleeding, bladder problems, and pelvic pain or pressure. So the reason that ends up happening, guys, like I said before, even though these tumors are non-cancerous, they end up growing, and taking up space. And so then you start, having that pressure because you remember you have other organs that's in that area as well. What sits right behind it, your intestines, stuff like that. You go a little further, we're talking about liver and kidneys, pancreas, etc. So you have those in your gallbladder. So you have those issues where the tumor starts getting bigger and bigger. It's going to cause problems. It's going to disrupt that blood flow and increase it more than usual. So that's why you see a lot of women who deal with fibroids, They have heavy cycles, like ridiculously heavy cycles. And, then that's when it can lead to other problems like anemia. So most people that have fibroid issues, I guarantee a lot of them are anemic, due to the blood loss. Okay. So I'll just read some of the comments if there is any. Hi, Lena. Thanks for joining us this evening. Appreciate it. We're talking about tumors tonight, benign tumors. And I'm just going through some of them and explaining them. So we're moving on from fibroids since you know what that is. And well, there's also another type of fibrous tissue type tumor, which is called a desmoid tumor. And these tumors can cause problems by growing by nearby tissues. So we're talking about um, tissue areas that can, possibly affect the way you live your life. Different areas, like I said, when tumors get by blood vessels and all of that type of stuff, you can start having problems. Okay. And it says here that when they get to that point, most likely they need to be removed. So then you have another type of tumor. Um, I believe it's called the hegonomus, if I pronounce that correctly. And it's a build-up of blood vessel type tumor cells, and in the skin or the internal organs. And usually that is like a birthmark. So, how many of you have seen kids? It can be like red, bluish in color, but it looks like a birthmark, but it's raised. So, when we're talking about this type of tumor, um, it's literally considered a birthmark type tumor. So I don't know. I've seen it before where I've seen young people when I was going to school and they had these birthmarks that were raised. You know, it looked like a little nodule or just a weird, unusual shape either by the eye or in the center of their forehead or in the cheek, wherever it popped up at. And it's considered like a birthmark type tumor. Those are also benign tumors, guys, as well, which is unusual to have something that's a tumor considered a birthmark. But it does happen. You can go ahead and look that up as well and find out more about it. So going down to different type of benign tumor, we talked about lymph nodes, lymph, lymph, yeah, I think it's lymph nodes or lymph nodes, and basically it's tumors that grow in the fat cell area. So they're the most common type of benign tumor in adults and often found in the neck, shoulders, back, and arms. Lymphomas are slow growing and usually round and movable and soft to the touch. So, guys, as I'm telling you the details about different tumors, these are just some of the ideas that you can get when you are, looking at your body and you may see a lump or feel a lump somewhere. You can sort of, say, hey, this sounds familiar from the broadcast. Let me go to the doctor and find out what's going on. This may feel like a lump here or there. So now that you know about some of these benign tumors, you know, you can understand the location of where they at and where they develop and know that these are tumors, possible tumors. I'm not saying for sure that they are tumors in your body because I don't know your body, but you can just be more self-aware and of course go get checked out, by your doctor if you feel that you need to. Usually they're round and movable, soft to the touch. They may run in families, and sometimes they're results of an injury. So remember, I told you before, you can get a possible tumor down the line due to injury. So that's just interesting. I never knew that you could just have an injury and then down the line it develop into some type of tumor because of the dead cells that end up developing and accumulating, and they're not being flushed out of the system. So they just end up mixing in with the tissue in that area, causing a clump, a mass, and there you have it. So it says here treatment may be needed if it is painful or if it's growing too quickly and out of control. So usually for tumors like this that are benign, If they don't remove it, they may include steroid shots or, um, which is unusual, liposuction to remove it, or like I said before, surgery. So, moving on, uh, we have another type of benign tumor that develops in the membrane area. So we're talking about the brain. So yes, you can have benign tumors near the brain area, okay, and the spinal cord. So it's talking about those two areas. And it says about 9 in 10 are benign that end up developing there near the brain and the spinal cord. And many times, this type of tumor it ends up growing slowly or more quickly. Treatments vary depending on the location. Because remember, we're talking about especially the brain. If it presses too hard on the spinal cord, you're talking about paralyzation. If you're talking about the brain, the tumor is pressing too hard on the brain and it's expanding too much, you're talking about memory loss and eye coordination and being able to see being lost, speech as well. So just because they're benign doesn't mean that, they can't become a problem. So symptoms may include headache with these type of tumors that develop in the brain or spinal cord, weakness on one side, seizures, personality changes, and visual problems. So a lot of times people will experience hallucinations if they get tumors in the brain. Oh yeah, those are some of the signs. Lena, you said you have heavy cycles. Well, you should really go get that checked out if it's bothering you, and also have them check your iron levels. You know, for that, definitely have them check your iron levels, especially when you're talking about percentage of blood loss. Okay, so dealing with those type of tumors that deal with the brain and spinal cord, like I said before, you can end up having seizures, personality changes, or just some of the symptoms, visual problems when we're talking about tumors in the brain. Um, like I said, they're benign, so if they're not in a spot where they need to be removed, the doctor would just say, hey, we're going to leave it alone because it's in a sensitive area. It might do more damage than good to remove that tumor. How many of you have family members that was told that, or you might have been told that yourself? You can leave that in the comments. And the doctor just says, hey, we're just going to keep an eye on it. Okay. They might give you radiation treatments for that, and if it can't be removed. So we're moving on to other types of benign tumors like myomas, which are tumors that grow from the muscle. Now, leiomyomas grow in the smooth part of the muscle. There's two different types of myomas, and the leiomyomas are usually found in the internal organs, such as the stomach and the uterus. They usually called fibroids, and they can start in the walls of the blood vessels or in the walls of the uterus. The leiomyomas are often called fibroids. I just said that before. And a rare benign tumor of the skeletal muscle is rhyominoma. So if we're talking about the bone skeletal muscle developing a tumor there, that's what that one is called. So these tumors may simply be watched. The doctor may say, hey, we're not going to remove these types either. We're just going to keep an eye on them, make sure just because they're benign, just make sure that they are not cancerous or don't turn into cancer. And they probably will try to shrink it with medication or remove it with surgery if they feel they need to remove it. But a lot of times they probably say, hey, we're just going to leave it alone, probably, send you through some treatments with medication and just keep an eye on it. So then there's another type of uh, benign tumor that people don't know about, and that is called a nevi, a nevi type tumor. So that's Nevi. and it's usually considered moles. So, how many of you knew that a mole can be considered a benign tumor? Interesting, huh? Yeah, so with that, it goes on to say that uh, the moles growths are grown on the skin and they can range in color from pink, tan, brown, or black. And you may develop new moles until about the age of 40. Moles that look different than original moles are called diaplasty neva and may be more likely to develop into skin cancer, which is melanoma. And for this reason, it is important to have your skin checked regularly by a healthcare professional. So, if you have a regular looking mold, it's called a nevy. But when it gets to the point where you start having moles pop up, like me, I have a lot of moles. I have a lot of moles on my body, but I always check the new ones that pop up. And, you know, we call some of them beauty moles or whatever the case may be. But as long as they look normal, those type of nevy type tumor moles are okay. They're okay. Um, what you want to look out for is when you start developing a lot more molds than usual and they start looking funny in shape, then that's when you want to say, hey, I need to go and get these checked out and see what's going on. And then you can make up a plan from there of what you want to do. Okay. So moving on to some more benign tumors. There's a lot of them, guys. A lot. About tumors that grow in the nervous system. So there's two types of nerve tumors. There are neurofibromas, and then there's some other ones called wyniomas. And these are benign nerve tumors that can occur almost anywhere in the nerves and run throughout the body. So neurofibromas are more common in people with an inherited condition called neurofibrosis. Okay, surgery is the most common type of treatment for benign nerve tumors. So when you have a tumor, even though it's benign on the nervous system, it becomes dangerous. So a lot of times what they like to do is remove it. Not that so much that it can become cancerous, but it's due to the fact that it's on the nerves. And when we're talking about the nerves, we're talking about you being able to have sensation of pain and everything like that. So imagine if a tumor like that develops on your nerves and is pressing against that nerve. You're going to experience some discomfort or chronic discomfort due to the pressure of that tumor growing in that nerve. So that's why a lot of times they want to go ahead and just alleviate that stress for you. So moving down, we have we're talking about bone type tumors. Now, these tumors usually appear as painless bumps near the joint, such as the knee or shoulder. So we're talking about tumors, benign tumors that develop on the skeletal bones. So you're talking about the joints, the knees, the elbows, all your big bone systems, your big bone ligaments. We're talking about that. So often the doctor will simply just watch these type tumors, make sure that they check them out. And if surgery is needed, then they go ahead and remove it, you know, if they're causing pain. Because remember, I told you, the bigger they get, or if they're pressing up against a blood vessel or hit up against a blood vessel, because you have, blood vessels running near those bones and joints, people, and it can cause some discomfort. Then they can say, okay, we're going to go ahead and either shrink it or remove it, whatever the case may be. Now we're moving down to another benign tumor. This is the last one, called papillomas, which are tumors that grow in that thin layer of tissue, the epileptical tissue, and project in finger like frogs. They can be benign or malignant. So they can go either way. And usually they grow in the skin, the cervix, the breast duct, the mucous membrane covering, and the inside of an eyelid. We're talking about the eyelid area, that thin little area right there above your eye. You can develop a tumor like that. And these are the tumors where you're talking about breast cancer, that type of thing, where it can go either way. You can have a tumor in your breast and it might be benign or may be malignant, which means that it's a cancerous type tumor because disease cells have infected that cluster of dead tissue cells of that mass and have made it cancerous. And now they're developing and affecting every part of your body, possibly spreading to other areas. So we're talking about those milk duct areas. We're talking about those areas that's known to end up leading to known cancers, breast cancer, all that type of stuff. So papillomas, are usually in the skin or the cervix. Talking about cervical cancer as well, the mucous membrane covering in the inside of the eyelid, eye cancer, that type of stuff. These tumors can result in direct contact with infection, such as the human papilloma virus, HPV, that's talking about the cervix area, and some and can make you more prone to being having cancer down the line. So we all heard about HPV and what it does, and basically it's a virus type that enters the body, and it can infect that area, infect those cells in the area, causing you to have high possibility of getting cancer and getting tumors that are cancerous in the body. So those are just some of the benign tumors that's out there. Remember, benign is different from cancer. Uh, Benign tumor is different from cancer. So benign tumor, like I said before, is nothing but a big mass of dead skin cells that did not flush out through the body system like it was supposed to. They end up staying there, and the mass is just growing. All that cells and tissue is just growing all together. Sometimes they can even get real big, and then we're talking about hematomas. People that look like they're pregnant, but they're not pregnant. Or they have a big extended belly. You think it's a beer belly, and a lot of times it's not. It's a big hematoma. It's a big ball of tumor, and sometimes those can end up being cancerous as well. But if they're benign, they can get huge. They can get big, and they can be a problem. So let's talk about nutrition before we get to some supplements that can help you, because that's what I'm all about as well. Like I've told people before, when you have good nutrition, it's going to make whatever supplements you're taking to help with your ailments, with issues like this. Like say you have a painful type tumor in your body, like fibroids or something like that. These supplements that we have that can possibly help you with that issue, having good nutrition combined with that is just going to make your supplements work more efficiently. Okay, so when we're talking about nutrition, as far as anything, let's say that you have tumors or you may have a cancer in your body, foods that can help fight it, fight these tumors, possibly fight these cancers in your body. I'm going to say possibly because nothing is a one all. But we know what things from nature can do. They have a powerful effect while having all of these side effects that you get from medications. Okay, so we're talking about apples, blueberries, which is high in antioxidants, help fight cancerous, possibly help fight cancerous type cells. Broccoli, carrots, cherries, cranberries, dark leafy greens has always been a go to. You can do so many things with dark leafy greens. You can make smoothies, You can make salads. There's so many things. You can add it to a turkey burger, or a burger, regular burger, whatever the case may be, to your sandwiches. There's so many things that you can do with it. Dried beans, peas, flax seeds, garlic, grapefruit, grapes, soy, squash, tea, tomatoes. People skip over tea, but they don't realize tea has a lot of antioxidants. You just have to watch out for the caffeine in a lot of teas, especially when you're talking about black tea. Black tea has the highest form of caffeine in it, but it also has those powerful antioxidants as well. So when you're looking at your teas, understand the difference between regular tea and herbal teas, and you being able to possibly lose hydration with regular tea. So when you talk about your black and your green teas and all of that, and your red teas, they can dehydrate you, even though they're providing those benefits for you. So you want to make sure you stay hydrated when you're drinking teas. Now, with herbal teas, we're talking about the chamomiles, the peppermint, the valerian roots, the echinacea, those type teas, the lemon balm. Those herbal teas, they're not going to hydrate you, so you really don't have to worry about that. They're not going to take any way. They're not going to dehydrate you in any type of way. So that's good to know the difference when you're consuming your teas. But you definitely want to consume some tea here and there to get your antioxidants. That's another form of way of getting it, and it helps fight those possible cancerous cells in your body. So we're talking about tomatoes. Tomatoes is hanging in there for the count. People overlook tomatoes and underestimate tomatoes, but tomatoes do some wonderful things as well. Especially when it's organic and it's not GMO. Okay, so walnuts and whole grains help fight what's already possibly there. So let's say you've been diagnosed with something, tumor, cancer in your body, you can lean towards these foods in your treatment to help fight and go in there and help it fight your battles with that. And we also have a powerful supplement that does that as well. And I'm going to read just the article for you about that. Now, we're talking about food prevention. That means things you can do to help you not get a possible tumor in your body, for your body to be well maintained, for your immune system to have everything it needs to fight off any infection, any possible tumors or cancers that may develop in your body. Okay, so when we're talking about that, we're talking about any food that has antioxidant, is very antioxidant enriched. Okay, with phytochemicals, garlic, broccoli, tomatoes again, strawberries, carrots, spinach, anything dark, leafy green you want to lean on to help with the prevention. You know, getting those legumes, getting those nuts, almond milk, everything that deals with fighting against those type of issues, tumors and cancer. Okay, so you definitely want to do your research, go and look up what foods can help you stay healthy. And that's the whole point, is getting you to a better state in your body. And the herbal supplements that I'm about to talk about, which is CBD, has been known to help with issues like that, such as tumors and cancer. Okay, so it can possibly help shrink it. And I'm going to read an article for you from the hemphalation.com article, and it talks about how they have been having success with people and research with people who have been having cancer in their body, and the possible effects it can have when you use CBD oil when it's in quality, guys, because not all CBD is made equal. Now we're almost at the closing because I'm getting to the supplements, and then I can go ahead and let anybody speak on, share their story, have you call in if you want, about having, maybe somebody who had a tumor in their body, and how the process that they went through. Maybe somebody that had a cancerous tumor, or maybe you may have had one. You want to share your story. I'll go ahead and let you do that. And especially if you have used the CBD product, CBD oil, I definitely would love to hear your story. If you have used CBD oil and it possibly shrinked your tumor or it has shrunk your tumor. So let me go ahead and read this article for you. It says here, CBD and other cannabinoids, including THC, have been known to ease cancer and chemotherapy related nausea, fatigue, pain, sleep deprivation, and depression. However, scientists and patients are wondering if different cannabinoids will have an effect on the cancer cells and work to reduce tumors and encourage normal cell behavior. According to the 2013 study, many cannabinoids have pro-apoplectic and anti-prophylactic properties which are known to affect cancer cell growth and how it grows. While the delta 9 THC has been used for years in medically legal states for cancer pain, we're talking about cannabis with THC has been used for pain management. The psychoactive effects aren't always wanted by patients. So that's the problem with people who smoke weed for their cancer or whatever the case may be for their ailments, possible ailments. A lot of people don't want that high feeling, so they look towards CBD oil. This is why more research is being done into what CBD can do for cancer. So patients can still have relief without feeling high. According to American Cancer Society, delta 9 THC and other cannabinoids like CBD have been shown to kill or slow the growth of cancer cells in lab environments and animal testing trials. Now, with our products, guys, our CBD, we do not test on animals. So I just want to make that very clear. But whatever CBD that they're using in their research, they're testing it on animals, okay? But that's not the case with ours. Okay, it says the testing cannabino- capa- cannabinoid treatments on human patients is in its early stages in clinical work. Now, this is just past research, so we've way long gone way more into the current data where they're showing lots of more people having great success using CBD oil. And you see that now with the burst of dispensaries that's going around the world, that's popping up with CBD oil, using it for ailments, and possible tumors in the body. So it says here that the CBD has been shown to slow and stop the growth of new cancer cells, while the THC factor will aid in shrinking existing tumors. There's also a lot of evidence showing that using full spectrum, now, guys, we have this available, full spectrum CBD oil. Full spectrum CBD oil or full plant products tend to be more effective than the isolated CBD products when you're talking about leukemia patients. So the stronger the dose, the higher the dose. And if it's full spectrum CBD oil, you want to lean more towards that part of the CBD oil, which we have available. We have both isolate and we have full spectrum. But the full spectrum definitely has been known to do more damage towards cancerous type cells, which is amazing. It says particularly in leukemia patients. This is mainly due to the fact that different cannabinoids have different therapeutic properties, so using them together can help patients suffering from cancer in multiple ways. While cannabinoid therapy research is still new, it is showing a lot of promise in the clinical world. So, guys, even the medical field is starting to see that they're going to have to tap into it as well when it comes to actually having um, results with cancer and getting that edge. Hi, Chris. So I just want to share with you just that part um, on how CBD oil can definitely help with tumors and with cancerous tumors. It can possibly help with that, help shrink it, help with the pain, help with nausea type like issues. So if you are looking for quality CBD oil, remember not all CBD is made the same. So I don't want you to go to the gas station, the corner store, and see a bottle of displayed CBD oil, or in some grocery store and be like, oh, it's CBD. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. See, I could get it for cheap. Remember, quality over quantity. And when we're talking about quality over quantity, we're talking about some CBD oils have contaminants in it, and you do not want them. Now, with ours, we don't have contaminants, and a lot of CBD oils are not certified, and they're cracking down on that. As a matter of fact, I was watching the news this morning. I was telling some people earlier on Facebook that, they're cracking down on these people who are just trying to take advantage of the CBD market, and giving people any and everything mixed with CBD oil, which is not right. That's why I love the company I'm with, because they're conscious about humanity and they're conscious about doing the right thing towards people. And like I told you in the news, it said they're cracking down on people who are not certified, who do not have the FDA, approval. And we do. We have GMP certification people. That means we have that seal. The inspectors came out and said, hey, y'all doing right. The government said, okay. Okay, so we have that seal. We have the GMP certification seal of approval. We also have the seal that says we are non-GMO, okay, which means we don't have no genetic modified hemp plants being turned into hemp oil and be given to you. That's not happening. So we have that still as well. And like I told you in that article where it talks about those scientists, using whatever CBD oil they got and torturing rats and all that type of mess, um, we have the seal that says that our CBD oil is cruelty free, which means we do not test it on animals and all that crazy nonsense. No rats, roaches, dogs, birds, and bees is being harmed to make CBD oil and give it to you. So that's definitely something to think about when you're talking about the quality of product and talking about the nature in which they are giving it to you. Okay. So the last part, which is great for those people who are always wanting to purchase products that are made in the great US of A, our products are made here in US of A. So international people can also be able to purchase our products as well in selected countries. But it's good to know that we finally have good quality products here in US of A, and you can be able to purchase them. So I hope you enjoyed this talk live. Like I said, we're not medical experts. Go back and do some research on benign tumors, which are non-cancerous, and find out more about them. Be more aware of your body. I challenge you to be more aware of what's going on with your body. You know, you know, just take the time out to gain more knowledge about your health. That way you know some things that you can possibly do to help you have a quality life. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, we're not medical professionals. Always do your research. We just use this for educational purposes. You can find all the information that is needed to help you or to purchase quality CBD oil on the sidebar. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you once again for being here on the CBD Movement Talk live show here on Facebook. Take care and have a great night.